Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. Today we're going over hadrosaurs, marine reptiles, and as well reindeer. So we're streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. From Sign News, new Titanosaur species unearthed in Chile. A new genus and species of Lithostrodian Titanosaur has been identified from a partial skeleton found in northern Chile. Oh, this is good to hear considering we've been taking a look at sauropods from further south in South America and different parts of Patagonia, especially over in southern parts of Argentina. I mean, it's always good to hear of long necked sauropods coming from the regular or stereotype region of South America, which Patagonia, and Chile, and Argentina, as well as part of southern Brazil, is basically a haven for sauropods. However, northern Chile, they are simply not as abundant. It's not necessarily that they aren't discovered here as well, but they're just not as commonly renowned. So let's take a look. It really does look, at least by
He looks
the
funny.
yeah, he does, especially his skull. I mean, it is a pretty basal Titanosaur um, overall morphology, and especially even for the skull structure. Very different from the different species of sauropods that we see in different parts of the middle and late Jurassic, even certain lineages during the early Cretaceous, especially like the Dicryosaur sauropods from different parts of South America, Africa, even into Asia and possibly Australia, and also even Europe. But this animal does seem to align with certain animals like um, different members of the later Lithostrodian lineage. Well, at least we don't know how old this specific animal is, but animals like Nemectosaurus and Argentinosaurus. So let's take a further look into what has occurred. Aracar lycante lived in what is now the Atacama region of Chile. Okay, so interesting. They found it in the Atacama Desert. This is one of the driest deserts on Earth and very high in altitude. It's just quite interesting. Almost like a guanaco discovered this animal, which is a South American camel. Even though it looks like a llama, but technically llamas and alpacas, as well as vicuñas, they're all camels. During the late Cretaceous epoch, between 84 and 66 million years ago. Wow, okay. That is even more fascinating considering sauropods around the world, not just over in South America, are not commonly renowned or mentioned from at least the 75 to 85 million year mark. You could even enter could even range like specifically 20 million years between 75 and about 95 million years ago. So this is quite astounding if this is really as old of a sauropod that they might be stating. The species belongs to Lithostrodiae, a large group of derived sauropod dinosaurs in the clade Titanosauridae. Well, it's also a subfamily of Titanosauridae, not just Titanosauridae. The Titanosauridae is a very broad and diverse with repeated finds in what is now Argentina and Brazil, said Dr. David Rubilar Rogers, a paleontologist at the Museo Nacional de Historia Natural in Chile. However, it is much less frequent to find them on this side of the mountain range. There are very few records of titanosaurs in this territory, which makes Aracar lycante a very valuable find. Now, obviously, compared to modern day, the what is now the Atacama Desert would have been quite lush. Series of floodplains, different conifer forests, a wide variety of different fern and flower prairies. That's a different species of sauropods and possibly hadrosauromorphs from this region. I'm also going to guess different species of ankylosaurs and nodosaurs were feeding on the area as well. Let's see. So, looking at this species, let's bring up maybe I guess Nemectosaurus. So Nemegtosaurus. Now we're still it's still a bit of a question as to how large this specific discovery is, but You had a wide variety of different species of sauropods in South America. Oh no. This okay, it's like somebody took an iguanodontid. Looking at the osteoderm structure, I'll say this real quick. There shouldn't be a tyrannosaur in this image. Well, that's not true. I mean, if we're talking about Nemectosaurus, this animal, this is a long necked sauropod, a larger species of Titanosaur that inhabited Mongolia around 70 million years ago. And it likely did coexist with Tarbosaurus batar, which is the second to largest species of Tyrannosaur to exist. And um, but just in this image, it's kind of replicating a certain Tyrannosaur toy. But apart from that, looking at the young sauropod, um, I'd also say that even the leg for what's supposed to be the adult seems rather off. It almost resembles certain iguanodontids. But um, yeah, it's quite off. The Nemectosaurus hatchling should have a much longer neck compared to their body size. I think the skull was a bit too ornithopodish, like or the adult's leg as well. Too wide, I think, in general.
You're not referencing this picture.
No. This is from Prehistoric Planet, and I'd say the Nemectosaurs in this picture are a bit odd. They have a bit too much of like a brachiosaur sort of appearance to them, and the brachiosaurs and titanosaurs were very distantly related. They also the brachiosaurs at this point had quite diminished in variety. Now, when it comes to the titanosaurs, also when you look at the core of this animal, the legs are far too short and stocky compared to their body size. I think the tail's a bit stiff.
Oh, I didn't even
It's
look at it. That's pretty funny.
it's really, in my opinion, a poorly done model. Also, when it comes to the surrounding ecosystem, when it came to pretty much the whole series, none of or few of the um, ecosystems were at all like they would have matched the animals like abundant food source back in the Mesozoic era,
Yeah, what are they
especially.
eating here?
Yeah, there's really nothing. There would have been deserts in Mongolia during the late Cretaceous. However, there would still have been different areas of large ecosystems that would have consisted of more than enough vegetation to supply the different species of large hadrosaurs that existed during this time in Mongolia. So the all these animals here are found from the Nemegt formation of the country, which hosts the Nemectosaurus, the Barspoldia hadrosaur in this depiction, which is also a relative of the Edmontosaurus over in North America. Who else was here? The large as darkid pterosaurs. They haven't been given a name yet, but there have been large remains of an unidentified, what seems to be as dark a pterosaur, has been discovered from this point in Mongolia. Who else? There might be the Tarkia and Kylosaurs in the background, but they seem rather small.
I like this guy.
Yeah, this Demectosaurus looks pretty good. I think it might be a bit possibly thin because I think we might be seeing the rib cage on the core, and its um core in general does seem a bit high off the ground. It could possibly be a bit lower, but I do like the overall lean and slender sort of appearance to this Lithostrodian. Now, what is interesting is that they did give this animal osteoderms or armor on its back, which this animal is also quite closely related to the Saltosaur lineage of sauropods that existed in different parts of South America at this point in the Cretaceous. Technically, the Saltosaurus had been around since the early Cretaceous, so for over 105 million years.
What's with this
Well,
guy's head?
back um, past 105. You probably travel as far back as 130 million years.
What's wrong with his
This
head?
this is from a picture. I think it's like the Guide to Prehistoric Life. It's like a giant fossil fish on it. Book from I think the early 2000s, and this was one of the models, except it's not this blurry.
That's from a
Um,
book and they couldn't get the picture clear?
yeah, and if this is supposed to represent Nemectosaurus, quite interesting. A bit of an odd sort of body structure that they're giving it. Obviously, the head's quite different. but it would have been much more similar to different species of titanosaurs and the prehistoric planet, um, brachiosaur, or you could even say maybe Poseidon sort of skull structure. P Brachiosaurus, also that specific animal existed over in Colorado around 150 million years ago. It never touched Asia. Whoa, okay, so, well, I mean, this might be kind of accurate. Wow, this is actually a pretty good picture. I gotta be honest, though, this looked like pulled pork for a second. But that is not pigs haven't evolved yet.
It says Tarbosaurus and Nemectosaurus.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. So what you have
It's
here
also
is,
leaving out these guys.
well, also what he's eating. So
Maybe it's a Nemectosaurus.
No. It's also, I think some people might confuse it at first glance if you're at all familiar with certain North American species of birds, with pelicans or spoonbills. This is neither. This is actually the largest species of ornithomimid to evolve. So related to animals such as Struthiomimus and Gallimimus. This the animal that the Tarbosaurus tyrannosaur is eating is a Dinohyrus. And this animal actually, let's bring up Dinohyrus. So this isn't what everybody thinks of. It's probably Saurolophus, the hadrosaur in the background, which is one of the largest hadrosaurs to exist, and the Nemectosaurus. So Dein
Oh,
Ochei. There we go. So yeah, this is all around 70 million years ago in Mongolia. Dinohyrus still wouldn't have been exactly easy prey for a Tarbosaurus, but Tarbosaurus was bigger. Also, when it came to Dinohyrus, despite its being also the most heavily built ornithomimid to evolve, it still would be quite a hard fight for it against a Tarbosaurus. Tarbosaurus was one of the most robust species of theropods to evolve, and especially over in Asia, probably the most heavily built theropod to evolve in Asia. And the Dinohyrus would really rely on its arms specifically to defend itself. The problem is it can't exactly reach very far with those arms. I mean, they're not short either. They are um, probably the longest arms of any species of theropod has been discovered, but they can't really reach much further than its mouth. So it's
does
not
this
gonna.
guy even have a mouth?
Oh yeah, this is one of the earlier depictions when they were giving Dinohyrus a bit of a more slender build. Um, yeah, it's there. It's just it's basically a very elongated um beak to an extent.
Oh, this is nice.
Technically, the beak was at the very front of the mouth. So, oh yeah, this is a very good representation. We do have the preserved stomach contents of Dinohyrus, indicating that this animal was feeding on fish and a large quantity of different aquatic plants. So it was practically an omnivore. It's quite interesting. It is unfortunate that we do not have. Well, we did have the skull of Dinohyrus, and then apparently it's disappeared somehow. I think from the fossil site. But, we do have the arms and I think, certain parts of the upper vertebrae intact. So this animal did have an elongated hump or back vertebrae, like with what you see in certain lineages of other theropod dinosaurs like the Spinosaurs, different members of the Metrocanthosaur lineage of megalosaurs, certain species of, in early ornithopod or iguanodonted dinosaurs, even the Marsupilami hadrosaurs technically had an elongated back vertebrae, and Allosauridae theropods like Acrocanthosaurus. So it is interesting. Elongated back vertebrae are not exactly a um, uncommon characteristic within dinosaurs themselves. Stegosaurs don't necessarily have elongated back vertebrae. They're more of just when it comes to plates on their back, very large osteoderms.
Is this from a video game?
I don't think so. I think it's just another model.
This is Animal A to Z on it.
Um, yeah, I'm guessing it's just a model. But also, I mean, this could be early 2000s. think 2022
I
though.
don't know, but that's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's from further back, it's not bad. I think the fish is concerned, but besides that, I mean, also he's quite skinny. I think his fingers might be a little short. This is the prehistoric kingdom Dinosaurus. They definitely gave it a lot of, um, I guess, height to the core. And I mean, he's okay. What is interesting is that he doesn't have any feathers. I find that quite odd. Maybe he has like mange for dinosaurs. So mange is what different animals, mammals specifically today, especially bears, wolves, occasionally lions, will obtain. It's basically a disease that starts eradicating their fur. Let's head back to the article. Okay, so where were we? I was talking about Mongolia. I mentioned Nemectosaurus. I think it was from this. Yeah. And these are Saurolophus. So this is a very large species of hadrosaur, practically weighing in at probably around 15 tons, possibly larger. Oh, Dinohyrus itself. This guy's. Oh wait, no, not you. Was probably weighing at somewhere around 6 to 7 tons. So around the size, close to the size of Tarbosaurus. So the partial skeleton of Aracar lycante, including cervical and dorsal vertebrae, humerus, femur, and ischium, was recovered from the Hornitos Formation in northern Chile. It is the most complete sauropod dinosaur recorded in Chile and the South Pacific margin of South America. It is also the third dinosaur named from Chile after At Adamactitan chilensis and Chilesaurus digosaurzi. Okay, Chilesaurus, not sure about Atacamatitan, so it's named after the desert. But Chilesaurus is a species of theropod from the mid Triassic period, pushing well over 230 million years ago.
Would you eat it with pasta and cheese?
No. Let's see. So Aracar lycente is a new lithostrodian titanosaur represented by associated and disarticulated bones that belong to a single subadult specimen of around 6.3 meters or 20.7 feet long. Whoa, that's small. That's shocking. Wow. Even subadult. Like that is in the small spectrum of sauropods. This is like pushing the who is it? It's not hitting me at the moment, but a species of sauropod dinosaur from the Hatseg ecosystem or basin over in Hungary and the Czech Republic. I mean Romania. So that's shocking. This sauropod is diagnosed by a unique association of features of dorsal vertebrae and appendicular bones. It shares some characters with Rapetosaurus and Bravosaurus. Well, what's interesting is that Rapetosaurus is from Madagascar and very like towards the very end of the Cretaceous, somewhere around 69 to 68 million years ago. And that animal was much larger, pushing somewhere around 50 feet in length or maybe approaching 15 meters, and probably weighed over 11 to 12 tons. Bravosaurus is not hitting me. And do not belong to the derived clade Saltosaurni from Patagonia. Huh. Well, I wonder what specifically made them say that. I mean, he's definitely not showing any armor, which many species of the Saltosaurni lineage of um, Titanosaurs do have armor. Now, I would say that their skull structures might be slightly different, but this does have a basal, more of like a larger Lithostrodian Titanosaur appearance. Titanosaurs are different. Hmm. But it's what is interesting is that it's this small. Another peculiarity of Aracar lycante is related to the disposition of its limbs, said Dr. Alexander Vargas, a paleontologist at the Universidad de Chile. A characteristic of many titanosaurs is that their legs were at an open angle. The new dinosaur does not have that angle. It is quite straight compared to the femur of other titanosaurs. Interesting. Wow. That is so he really is an outlier. Quite odd. He's small and a different like locomotion, possibly. What else? Possibly the skull structure too. Did it mention a skull real quick? No. Okay. So maybe something to do also with the legs. Okay, this was very interesting to see. Let's head to another part of the Mesozoic. Or wait a second, or Cenozoic. Or should we go forward in time? Let's go forward in time. So, from businessinsider.com, over 300 reindeer were struck by lightning in the same spot in Norway, and their carcasses have had a surprising effect on the landscape. Yeah, I think I heard about this. It happened a few years ago. Yeah, the problem is when it comes to the tundra ecosystem of even southern Norway, I think many people tend to associate certain areas of like specifically northern parts of Norway, Finland, Sweden, even Russia and North America with tundra. And there are certain areas, even if you're in different parts of the United States, on the tops of like the alpine areas of the Rocky Mountains, there's technically it's there's these little areas of tundra in like parts of Colorado, Montana as well. But it's different from the tundra that you'll see in northern parts of Yukon, Alaska, even in these different mountain ranges over in Norway. And also, when it comes to lightning in general, tundra is one of the best areas for lightning. There's not really anything to keep it situated in a specific area. So it takes out everything within a close range. I don't know how large that area is, though. So in 2016, 323 reindeer in the same area. Oh, let's add some extras. In Norway were struck by lightning and died. Their heads were removed for research, but the carcasses were left in the mountainous area to decay. I mean, it's not really much else you could do with it. A study published last week suggested that the reindeer carcasses are increasing plant diversity in the area. The feces of scavengers coming to consume the dead animals contain many seeds that could eventually produce new plants. I mean, I was thinking maybe burn it, but I mean, the scavengers would definitely like it. My issue would be possibly disease, however. So let's see. 2 years ago, is it much more recent? No, no, no. It's actually further back. 323 reindeer in southeast Norway were struck by lightning and died. Many of the animals were found on top of each other on a remote mountain plateau. Norwegian officials said they had never seen a case like it before. Well, I'll just read this real quick. Authorities flew in to remove the reindeer heads for a study on diseases in deer and elk, and the carcasses were left in the mountainous area to decay. It means elk as in reference to moose. There aren't any like Rocky Mountain elk over in Europe. These carcasses may end up boosting plant diversity and novel mechanism as scavengers drop feces containing seeds near the dead animals. Huh. I'm guessing you probably had like Arctic foxes, maybe even wolverines coming to feed on these carcasses. Um, Brown bears are rare in Norway. They're only situated in a small part of the central area of the country, like the central eastern area. There may be like 150 individuals. And wolves are also quite rare in Norway as well. It's possible you might have had some come over here, but I doubt it. Okay, let's head back in time. So, from Sinu's new mosasaur species unearthed in Morocco. So, Morocco is over in Northwest Africa, a haven for a wide variety of different species of mosasaur as well as other types of marine reptiles, especially coming in from the Cretaceous. There have been, a wide variety of different species of dinosaurs that come from here as well, especially animals like Spinosaurus. And then if you go further back into the Triassic, certain species of animals as well. So let's see. Paleontologists have described a new species of mosasaur based on two complete skulls and jaws found in Morocco.
Wait, have you done this article before? Or did I
Uh,
pull this picture?
yeah, I wonder if you pulled the picture.
I just remember that weird tongue.
So it's the tongue in this mosasaur depiction. It derives from a theory that mosasaurs are closely related to today's Komodo dragons, monitor lizards, in some cases snakes, but more closely related to Komodo dragons and crocodile monitors. So it's possible that most the mosasaurs in general would have stuck their tongue out to help smell the world around them. I do think that might be a bit complicated though in the water, considering this is an animal that also has to go up to the surface to breathe. And you have it where orcas, dolphins, whales, they don't smell in the water. So mosasaurs and family Mosasauridae were specialized marine lizards that evolved and diversified during the late Cretaceous epoch. The term marine lizard is not exactly inaccurate. Mosasaurs did evolve from lizards like shortly beforehand, earlier in mid Cretaceous period, so around 95 to 100 million years ago, and then quickly created a variety of different species in the ocean. So their diversity peaked in the Maastrichtian age of the Cretaceous between 72 and 66 million years ago, with the most diverse faunas known from Morocco. You also have it where, like the, I think, Smoky Hills area in Kansas likes to also show up on the title for some of the best mosasaur specimens on Earth, but Northern Africa does contain quite a few individuals, especially coming in from Morocco. While most of its relatives were small, just a few meters long, the new Moroccan species got big, perhaps 8 meters long. That's pushing somewhere around 26 feet. Named Bluridan serpentis. Oh, I think I'm familiar with this guy. So I guess this is talking about the discovery of this specific species of Pluridans. The marine creature had long, slender jaws with numerous small, hooked, snake like teeth to grab small prey like fish and squid. They were definitely much more robust than snake teeth, but and also not as closely put together. I mean, there would have been quite a separation, but probably when it comes to the distinct curvature and sleekness of their teeth, they might resemble snakes to some extent. I would probably compare it to certain species of maybe monitors to an extent. Compared to related mosasaur species, it had smaller eyes, suggesting poor vision. That is not too surprising. Some instances we have different species of marine reptiles where it seems that certain species, not necessarily like the ichthyosaurs back in the early Cretaceous, the Jurassic and Triassic periods, but certain larger broad-headed carnivores or carnivore lineages like the mosasaurs, I believe there's other species, for some reason ended up evolving poor vision, or at least probably small eye sockets too. But its snout had dozens of openings for nerves, hinting at the ability to hunt by sensing water movements and changes in pressure. These nerves may have been sensitive to tiny vibrations in water pressure, an adaptation seen in marine snakes. This might be due to a certain like whole area on the top of the skull when it comes to practically every species of mosasaur. But it's mentioning the snout, so like the upper part or the front part of the jaw or the skull specifically, and it could be referring to specific holes around the snout as well, not necessarily that large area above the skull. Okay, let's bring up possibly a contender, but it's not a mosasaur. Hydrothosaurus. So Hydrothauros. Did a long neck plesiosaur pop up? Okay. Samuel.
There you go.
Oh, oh. It's like a picture from the Land Before Time at some point. Seems to be like some sort of a crocodilomorph like skull beneath it. Unless it's supposed to be a Spinosaur and some sauropod, which happens to have, trying to think, like Herrerasaur teeth. That thing's got an issue. Unless that's supposed to be the plesiosaur. Oh boy. So this plesiosaur apparently has been mixed with a nothosaur from the Triassic, which means he's quite lightly built. But also, the nothosaurs were quite small and a very distinct lineage of marine reptiles not related to the plesiosaurs in general. And they also weren't related to the ichthyosaurs, the pliosaurs,
This guy's blowing
mosasaurs.
steam out of his nose.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We have found it might be Antarctosaurus. No, I think it's another species, but we have found plesiosaur specimens from marine deposits in Antarctica. And it seems to be that at that point in the late Cretaceous over in Antarctica, I'm referring to somewhere between 70 and 75 million years ago, it was quite cool. And it's very possible that the plesiosaurs might have occasionally, or they did, inhabit those waters. And it's very possible that when they came up to get some air, you would have seen steam.
Yes, but it's tropical here.
Um, Possibly subtropical. I mean, I know they're mixing different types of plants, but usually when you're seeing conifers like that, the term it might not even be subtropical. There's a wide variety of different types of small climates around the world, but I wouldn't say necessarily the overall broad spectrum of tropical. Um, Now, technically, when you see a wide variety of cetaceans today come for air, even if they're in a warmer area, you still see a puff of possibly steam
I'm trying to find a better one.
vapor. Well, are there any drawings? Okay, well, here's a model. Oh, okay. So this is a member of the plesiosaur lineage of marine reptiles. Not specifically, I believe, the elasmosaurids, but it is a close relative. This animal, I believe, is also described by um, Samuel Wells. Anyway, a paleontologist that also described Dilophosaurus and even Shonisaurus, which is a very large species of ichthyosaur from the Triassic. And this was back in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, possibly the 1930s and 40s as well. Okay, yeah, this is from one of those models back in the early 2000s. I think they also came from, at least to the closest one to the front. Comes from a book as well. I'm not sure about the other model. He's got a big problem with his neck, though. That is not a natural stance for an elasmosaurid. The elasmosaurs could only have their necks in a horizontal, straight range of motion. If they raise their necks like that, there's a big chance or a high risk chance of breaking it. So these plesiosaurs, like Hydrothosaurus, probably reached somewhere around 30 feet in length or 9 meters and weighed somewhere between 3 to 3.5 tons. Possibly larger. I might be underestimating that a bit. Probably between the 3 to 5 ton range. Some of the There's some of the more heavily built lineages, plesiosaurs. This is somebody's model, but it has a big problem. That neck is far too skinny compared to the rest of the body, even for a plesiosaur in general. Like, even when looking at smaller species, more lightly built species, it almost what it reminds me of is a member of the Saurogyptian lineage of Triassic reptiles, the Tanystrophiids, when it comes to that specific neck structure.
It's the same one.
But it also kind of looks like a toy. But besides that, this is very far off. And the teeth, it's very likely that the elasmosaurids or plesiosaurs did have teeth that stuck out of their mouth, much similar to certain species of marine pliosaurs. So the pliosaurs went extinct somewhere around 100 to 105 million years ago. They did coexist with a wide variety of different plesiosaur species, but this guy just has a very exaggerated tooth structure. Also, when it comes
Wait,
to
I got one.
oh yeah, he doesn't have tail fluke either. Well, I mean, I admire his invention. He wants to be seen as a plesiosaur. It is quite terrifying. That's a huge skull, though. Um, Trying to think of any species of plesiosaur that might have that large of a skull. They had quite small skulls compared to their body size. Maybe not to the extent of like the long necked sauropods on land, but they also didn't reach the size of them either. The only groups of marine reptiles that reach the size of the larger sauropods would be, well, also they became larger as well. The ichthyosaurs from the Triassic, they became larger than any species of sauropod, such as
Think this guy's
Shonisaurus.
going swimming?
Yeah, he could be. I was thinking maybe he's going to use it for like a motorcycle or a bicycle, but I don't think you would want to damage that.
Oh, here we go.
It would definitely work for spooking people on a lake. Um, Maybe you could use that on. Never mind. So I'm guessing is this from? I think this might be another species, not
This
Hydra.
Hydrosaurus.
Hmm.
But then it says Styracosaurus. So
Well, that's another species of
I don't know
elasmosaurid.
why it says both.
Then there's Libonectes. Hmm. Okay, so we have the upper part of the skull, and I think just the um, bottom facing part, like where we're seeing the teeth of that exact part of the skull. So it's all the upper jaw. This is exquisitely well preserved, especially since we have some of the teeth intact. It definitely shows. I think many people that are somewhat familiar with plesiosaurs tend to see a very or imagine kind of a roundish or sort of squarish type of a skull structure. And there were a wide variety of different species of plesiosaurs that had a much more narrow and thin jaw structure. I think plesiosaurs in general, many species from the Jurassic, especially the mid to late Jurassic, tend to give off that type of a um, just stereotype appearance.
Okay, this is odd.
But most of these different species would feed on fish, except we have possibly a baryonyx. Could be.
Not what it says.
I don't think it's an irritator. It's
It's
just.
the Hydrosaurus.
Uh, yeah, this
Maybe
is.
it's the tail.
That looks very baryonyx like to an extent.
No, the tail in his mouth.
Uh, oh. Oh, I thought it was a. I thought it was a fish.
Oh, I don't
So it's
know.
like
I'm just saying.
I
'Cause
didn't I didn't realize, like, it was he bit off part of the, plesiosaur in general, but, plesiosaurs don't that's not a, plesiosaur tail. If anything, it sort of resembles, like, maybe a mosasaur. Can't think of anybody else. Not the pliosaurs, they had a very their fins were quite similar to the other long neck plesiosaurs. I mean, not fins, they're tails, like the tail fluke, but I think it's a fish. Baryonyx ate fish. This is definitely an older reconstruction of a plesiosaur, but, gosh, who is this specific species? I mean, it could be Hydrothosaurus, definitely giving it those specific serrated teeth that I wonder if he was feeding on larger or more, heavily scaled species of fish. They were also feeding on ammonites or members of the cephalopod family related to today's squids. Hmm, that is a big mystery. Also, it is interesting when looking at the certain species of elasmosaurs or plesiosaurs, and the back of their skull or their upper neck would make a sort of hump, at least in certain reconstructions, or at least it would be a bit of an ascent.
this is
Okay, let
freaky.
oh, whoa, okay, yeah, one of these guys. What on earth? That's supposed to be a plesiosaur? Hydrotherosaurus. It's almost like they gave him a python look, and so that is not a plesiosaur. And they had quite smooth, well, technically you could say certain snakes today might have smooth scales, but I still think it would be different. Okay, where were we? Named Pleurodon serpentis, the marine creature had long, slender jaws with numerous hooked. Oh, I said that. Compared to what? I already said that. Typically, when animals evolve small eyes, it's because they're relying more heavily on other senses, said Dr. Nick Longrich, a paleontologist at the Milner Center for Evolution at the University of Bath. The fact that Pleurodon serpentis had so many nerves in the face may mean that it was using changes in water pressure to detect animals in low light conditions, either at night or in deep dark water. If it wasn't using the eyes, then it's very likely that it was using the tongue to hunt like a snake. Many aquatic snakes and lizards, sea snakes, file snakes, and water monitors flick their forked tongues underwater, using chemical cues to track their prey. Okay, I gotta update my current marine reptile sensitivity. So this could possibly indicate that the mosasaurs really did have the ability to smell underwater. Okay, my mistake. The discovery. Oh, okay. So there's a skull. There's a wide variety of different mosasaur skulls that come in quite intact from Morocco. Many belong to the same species. So um, this is actually quite unique coming from Pleurodis serpentis, especially around this time. Very, very well preserved. Even some of the back or the front cervical vertebrae of the neck. Very good teeth, eye sockets. So the discovery of Pleurodon serpentis brings the number of mosasaurs known from the latest Cretaceous in Morocco up to 13. I think there's possibly been a couple of others more recently, so it might be a higher number. The diversity in these fossils is just astonishing. Far from declining in diversity, the mosasaurs seem to be peaking just before they went extinct. We're not seeing any evidence that this group was struggling before they went extinct. From an evolutionary standpoint, they were succeeding. They did everything right, but nothing can prepare you for an asteroid. It's a new species of a large predator, which, with its 8-meter length or 26 feet, comes to confirm the variety of the faunas of the seas just before the Cretaceous crisis. Say Dr. Nour Idine Shalil, a paleontologist at the Natural History Museum of Sorbonne University. So, okay. Let's bring up a mosasaur. So, let's go to maybe Prognathodon. Prognathodon. So there were different species of mosasaurs that existed in you had a wide variety of different seas that covered different parts of northern Africa, as well as certain areas of Europe, Asia, and even North America. So that's why states like Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas, even Oklahoma can score different species of mosasaurs. Is because the Western Interior Sea cut North America in half, and we have certain geological deposits that date to the late Cretaceous when the Midwest, especially that part of the Midwest, was underwater. Okay, so yeah, I guess this could represent Prognathodon. Prognathodon was one of the more robust species of mosasaurs, or I guess you could say it's one of the more robust genre, considering we have found different species of Prognathodon. Yeah, they have. This one definitely gave it a much more, um, yes, a bit of just a wider, or I guess maybe even stocky to an extent, sort of
They're all
uh,
doing that.
morphology. Which I mean, I think it looks pretty good. This animal could reach, depending on the species, maybe somewhere around 20-25 feet in length, so close to the size of the new species, or well, the globidens.
The what?
The globidens species, unless I'm confusing it with another genus.
I have no
That
idea. It's just the name sounded weird to me.
The recent species of mosasaur over in Morocco. I mean,
I just thought he was funny.
this could be Prognathodon. It's quite odd. It almost like has the upper skull jaw, like hmm. It almost looks like a cookie cutter shark to an extent. Or if it's not the cookie cutter, then I'm mistaking him for something else. Even the coloration looks similar as well. But this animal is likely feeding on different species of long necked plesiosaurs, a wide variety of fish, and even the different ammonites as well. Possibly even going after other mosasaurs, since we do have preserved specimens of mosasaurs with bite marks, which seem to come from other mosasaurs, and stomach contents as well. Huh. Well, this is an interesting model.
Are his teeth
Um,
metal?
it seems that way. This mosasaur has a bit of like a fish type of a morphology to it. I'm not sure what fish. Actually, not well, I mean technically a, a fish, but a low fin fish from the late Devonian period. Almost like Tiktaalik to an
Wait, how
extent.
big is he?
I've oh well, one depends on the species, but they could reach to somewhere between 35 to 40 feet in length,
Well,
or
how
pushing
does it
11 to 12
this is
meters.
saying it's attacking Megalodon.
Oh, it might be just one of those Mosasaur versus Megalodon depictions, but Megalodon far outsized any species of Mosasaur. Also, they did not coexist either. Megalodon was inhabiting the ocean somewhere around 3 million years ago during the Pliocene epoch, and the mosasaurs went extinct 66 million years ago, right before the Cenozoic era began. This is an intact skull specimen of a prognathodon. And it's very well preserved. The eye sockets are huge for this animal, so it probably had fairly good vision. Also, very wide, robust um, teeth. This is not the typical teeth that you see in different species of mosasaurs. Some had not necessarily thin teeth, but they weren't as wide as prognathodons. Um, Prognathodon also probably had one of the strongest bite forces of any species of mosasaur. And yeah, when it comes to the jaw, the teeth are almost similar to like a bellysaur's
The teeth
or
are
even
huge.
certain types of crocodilomorphs as well on land. Yes, and this isn't even including the root. It's just the upper crown of the tooth, which is basically what's used for slicing through um, flesh, plants, fungi. So,
You say fungi?
yeah, but I'm just referring to any tooth. This animal was likely not feeding on fungi or any plants. Not that he probably didn't occasionally feed on like certain, um, maybe seaweed occasionally, but it's because whatever he was eating was feeding on that. He'd probably be fine. Maybe a bit of a stomach ache. Yeah, it's interesting. They all seem to be correlating with that specific wide sort of jaw structure. And even when it comes to the body too. Actually, in this depiction, it's almost like that of an ankylosaur when it comes to like the wide core structure, and not necessarily like a sort of tall underbelly. So it's quite fascinating to see. So it's I think I said so Pleurodens whoops. Okay, so it's Pleurodens, not Globidens. Globidens is another genus of mosasaur. Pleurodens serpentis highlights the importance of the paleontological heritage of Morocco to help illustrate the history of life. The latest discoveries show perfectly that the list of species present here is far from being closed and that the future still holds great surprises and discoveries, said Dr. Nathalie Bardet, a paleontologist at the Muséum National de Histoire Naturelle of Paris.
Jesus.
Okay, so this was really good to see with this new species. Oh, well, I mean, I guess to go back over the discovery of this renowned species of mosasaur. So, thanks for joining. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. And we are streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.